Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
Here's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella's story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to Capital Hacking, the big show. I got my man Alex Felice co-hosting. He is the world famous Alexander the Great.
Dude, it's good to do this with you. Good times. We had a great show today. Bryan McFarland, we covered a variety of different topics from, his entrepreneurial endeavors in manufacturing, which I know nothing about. We talked a little bit about real estate, and we talked a lot about like mental health and just weird little things you can do in life that give you some hack, some edge. And he's a great product of success from those types of endeavors. So, and he seems like a good dude. I was really excited to get to know him a little better.
Yeah, it was awesome. This is a super fun episode.
Yeah. Let's not wait. Let's go to it.
Let's get it. Hey guys, we are so excited today. We have our good friend Bryan McFarland that we're going to interview. Alex Felice, aka Alexander the Great, is my co-host. Come on, baby.
Let's go.
What's up? Happy to be here. We're here with Bryan. Bryan and I just met this last week, and we were chit-chatting and smack talking a little bit. Great dude. Glad to get to talk to him here. We were hanging out, but I don't actually know anything about your story, so I'm glad that I get the chance to hear it firsthand, and we get to share it with some other people. But Bryan, I'd love to hear a little bit of backstory. Who are you? How'd you get here? What are your hopes and dreams?
We met a week ago, and I just didn't think we'd cross paths this quickly. I mean, I don't know if that's a blessing or a curse right there, Alexander the Great.
You are a lucky duckling.
So, present moment, married, 2 kids. I run a sales agency in the manufacturing space. So, all you real estate guys, that's not me. I'm actually in old school manufacturing, believe it or not. So, I represent about 20 different manufacturers. My grandfather started our agency in 1970. My father took it over. I was blessed enough to come into the family business. I never thought that was going to be my journey. And my father and I actually got along and worked together for about 15 years. And I've kind of grown it from, we're a little fledgling when I joined the company, but I've had the opportunity to have that, that solid foundation to build it up from. But again, we represent 15, 20 different manufacturers, all in the like med device space, defense, aerospace, commercial. So we go out there and find our manufacturers' customers. So let's say a Johnson & Johnson, I meet with their engineering team. They're coming out with a new surgical device. We make like a little machined part that goes in there, and I get commissions. And what's nice, it's like an annuity. So once we build that book of business, it just keeps paying us. So that's like my main gig. I actually started a machine shop in Reading, Pennsylvania. We're doing a lot of Jeep aftermarket parts for the Navy, and I exited that in February of this year. So we built it up for 7 years and then sold it to a friendly competitor. And then I do have a small real estate holdings. So some Airbnb properties, some multifamily, some office space. Basically, those have just been avenues to offset taxes for my W-2 while, building up that passive income. And then the last thing is a little passion project, but I started a small e-commerce company in 2020 when COVID hit, and I saw kind of like mental health around us kind of eroding. So it's called 3x5 Life, 3x5 Life. And it's a simple like productivity gratitude system that me and my wife kind of birthed in the world. The idea literally hit me making pancakes for my kids on a Saturday morning. And we went from like thought to full blown, launch in 7 weeks. So it was, prototyping the product, doing professional videos, launching an e-commerce website. And we built that up to doing like 20 grand a month in sales. And we were selling it to like a division of Google, bought it for a whole division for Mental Health Awareness Month. Siemens Government Products bought it for one of their divisions, actually where you are, Alexander. down in Austin, one of the largest school districts in Austin, the superintendent bought it for an entire grade to try to build habits. So it's been kind of a cool evolution. But one thing I did learn, I'm really good at birthing something into the world. But once that business is up and running, something like that, like I need somebody to take it over. So it's kind of dwindled since like a kind of a 2-year high. So we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with that business. So that's a lot in a couple minutes, but that's kind of my background.
I have that same.
Say something. Go ahead.
I have that same superpower. I'm really good at starting things and like getting. I don't care if it's dirty or messy. Like I can get something to market, and then once it's like up and running and needs like the same thing to happen every day, I could not be more bored, and I will walk. So it's interesting to hear you say that.
Yeah. No. So I was gonna ask this. What is this 3x5 life? Explain it deeper. I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So it's literally a 3x5 index card. So they have all these complex productivity gratitude journals out there. I mean, you go on Amazon, you'll see 50 different versions, and you have to be like, this is how many glasses of water I had today, or steps I took, or like my 3 top things I want to get done today. So I'm like, okay, can I narrow that down to what's been the most impactful on my life and fit it on an index card? And literally this thing fits in the back of your phone like a phone sleeve. So it's like a bolted on app. So it's perfed down the center of the card, so it folds in half nicely. And on one side of the card is AM gratitude. We all know about gratitude. So write, 3 things that you're grateful for. And then on the other side of that same side of the card is PM wins. So I'm sure you guys know of BJ Fogg, Tiny Habits, Stanford stud. He wrote the book Tiny Habits, and he said, if you get one thing out of my book, it's the power of wins. One day, wins is going to rank up there with gratitude. So at the end of the day, to bookend your day, it prompts you to be like, okay, what are 3 wins today? Like, so it just like puts you into this like positive state of mind before you go to sleep. And that was so impactful for the school district in Austin. So many kids, especially teenagers, are like, man, Susie was mean to me today, or like they just ruminate on negative things. So getting them into the habit of writing 3 wins for the day is such a powerful thing to teach kids at a young age. And then on the other side of the card is like your simple task list. So there's 10 little boxes, not to overwhelm you. If you have more than 10 tasks, they're not going to get done anyway. So, and then on the other side is either like a note section or like a simple day schedule to kind of fill in your blocks the night before, so you know how to tackle the day the next day.
This is a physical product?
It is a physical product. I went against the grain.
What is this called again? I want to Google this right now. I'm so intrigued.
x5life.com.
Yeah, baby.
So let's go.
Let's
this
go.
Is fascinating.
Yeah. So
okay.
So my wife actually, Pfizer hired my wife to do. She does educational consulting. So she actually went into Pfizer's New York City office and went with their executive team with this product and with like these little habits that they started the executive team and then worked their way down of like, hey, let's build this out. This low hanging fruit that everybody overlooks, use this product to kind of capture that to, help out our staff that's stressed.
So when we hung out, we talked about, I have this little thing that I made, and I understand now why you remembered it, but we talked about my daily mental health checklist that I invented. And at 41 or about 40, and I was like, man, my day goes so much easier. And I don't keep it on a physical, but I keep it on a little Notion. I'm not sure if you guys use Notion. Notion is my entire life goes on Notion. It's a, little productivity app. And I have a little checklist, and my fiance and I now we really use it to help each other. And every time I'm having like I'm ruminating, I'm thinking about my negative, I'm being insecure, she goes through the checklist, and the checklist is basically, did I go to the gym? Did I socialize with people? Because everybody's like needs social, but like I'm a hyper extrovert. So if I don't go with people, if I don't see people, my mental health dwindles really quickly. So it's gym, socializing. Did I go outside? Did I eat protein? And did I drink water? If I do those 5 things, there's like a 99.9% chance that my mood is cured, and I feel great about myself. And when I don't do those 5 silly little, like almost, it's so simple you might dismiss it as being too simple to be effective. But if I do those 5 things, I'm like, not to say my life is better, but like my mental, I feel good. I feel good about myself. I feel good about the future. It cures me. And so I see how that sort of idea fits into kind of what you're doing here.
Alex,
100.
I didn't hear trash talking in that mental
Well,
health.
so I
There's one of them.
yeah. So the sixth one on the checklist is smack talk. But that's an Alex thing. You know, everybody needs their own personal sixth. Like, what is it you do to make yourself feel better? So I left that one out. But yeah,
And how
the
simple is
five universals.
how simple is that, Alex? And that's the thing. Like, there's so many simple things that we don't do when we know that if we do them, we're going to feel better. John Edwin has a famous saying, every day means every day, you know, and it's so true. And it resonates so much with me because those things that you need to do, Alex, every day to make you a happy, fulfilled, functioning human being need to get checked.
Yeah.
I can't tell people how I keep bringing it up. It's like, to me, it's like a half a joke. I'm like, it's a joke, this little mental health checklist. It's also so powerful. Gratitude. To your point, my fiance and I started this last year. Now when we sit down, you know, at dinner, we just say, hey, tell me 3 things you're grateful for. And it's so powerful to just say it out loud. And it's so simple. It's the old saying, like, what's easy to do is also easy not to do.
Yeah.
And so people just don't do it.
Yeah.
And then we started doing it, and it really, man, it changed my daily perspective. It changed our happiness. It changed how we share with each other and what we're happy, like what we're thinking about. And it made me at least start realizing that I need to think about other people a lot more than just myself. And all these like healthy byproducts came out of it. So I love that you've put this into a physical card for people. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, I do want to go back a little bit. So there's a few things I wanted to talk about, but the sales agency in the manufacturing space and working, like your grandfather started it, and then you worked. How did you work for 15 years with your dad? How did that dynamic work?
My dad is like a big kid. So it made it easy for me because he just wants to have fun, you know, and he was having fun with his son. Like, he doesn't take life too seriously. So much so that as I got further into the business, I'm like, yo, dude, like, you need to start, like, we have the CRM. You need to actually start putting information in it. Like, you need to start like doing the things that's going to help this company like excel when you're gone, and get it out of your brain. So, I mean, he did, to his credit, he didn't micromanage me. He let me dream. He let me take risks within his business at the time that could really have impacted our business negatively. So he really gave me free reign to, like, I'm a born and bred entrepreneur. Like, that's just how I'm wired. And he didn't hold me back from like scratching that itch, to his credit. So I think that allowed me to have freedom within his business at the time.
Man, I really hope that I can do something like that with my kids. My kids are getting older, and we're constantly sharing ideas. And I know that, you know, we've always grown them up to go, like when we're doing flips or houses under construction, we put little hard hats on them when they were kids. And, you know,
Right.
we take them to closings. We take our friends' kids to closings or
Cool.
walking through properties. And we've always been trying to expose them. But I wonder how controlling I would be, you know, when my kids are in that position, ready to go and maybe partner up. I wonder how I'm going to feel. Like, will I be anxious, or will I be like, whatever, kind of like what your dad was? And I like to have fun. So that's
Right.
a great perspective.
Yeah. I mean, he probably should have had a little more structure on me, to be candid, but you know, it worked out all right, luckily.
Yeah. And what space do you like to be in? Like, what's your favorite? I know you were doing stuff with USCG, right? And they fit out seats for
Yep.
I want to say like overseas, if a military member drives over and explodes. Is that right? Am I correct me if I'm wrong?
Yeah, I mean, they'll do bus seats for SEPTA, like the driver
Oh, okay.
seat. They do seats for like just passenger seats, rail seats, like the plastic ones that you sit on. So we would make some parts for them. Yes. So to your question, John, is like what, like industry or?
Yeah. What's your favorite thing that you guys, make for companies and sell?
Well, I mean, we do a lot of firearm stuff. I make all the revolvers for Kimber firearms. So like, I'm sorry, all the cylinders for the revolver. So if you buy a Kimber's revolver, that cylinder is my machine shop. Like med device is super fun and interesting how we impact that. We do a ton of castings for baby incubators. So just knowing like babies are, in there being like taken care of from a product that we make is super cool. But I don't give a shit like what we make. I just like to connect with good people. It makes it so much more like every day is an adventure, like going out and seeing these different manufacturing sites, and then just trying to like figure out how that person's wired and how I can make them like me in like an authentic way. I think that's the psychology behind that is what like gets me going. I really don't care what the product is. Like sometimes it's cool. Like we just visited Raymond. They're the number one manufacturer of forklift trucks in the world. And, you know, they went from making 95 forklifts a month to making 150 a day. And it's like bonkers, like touring their facilities. You feel like you're in an auto plant. But just like figuring out how that buyer is wired and how I can, you know, help her and support her and solve her problem. That's what's fun for what I do.
I love that because I'm not a born and bred entrepreneur, like you said, but I love people. And I kind of think about people that same way. I'm like, hey, we're all a bunch of puzzle pieces. How can I, you know, get us all to work together with relative, relative strengths and weaknesses.
Yep.
So it sounds like there's hope for me yet. That was very encouraging.
Yeah. So, I mean, but one thing I'd like to kind of land on here too is like, I've led in the last 10 years a fairly successful life, but I was a super late bloomer. I know, John, you started out early with self-development, personal development. I know a little bit about your story, but I didn't really hit that till I was 30. Like I had no confidence when I was younger. I was undiagnosed dyslexic. So I had, you know, learning challenges that I had to overcome. And what really pushed me over the edge to start achieving some goals in life is just really working on things that made me love myself, things that made me be proud of myself. And that's when I started dipping my toe into just actually I found Audible when audio books came out in the iPhone 2008, 2009. I was all of a sudden be able to consume content at the thirst of knowledge that I needed and wanted and craved. And then that just like lit a fire under my ass. So I start consuming this content, start getting into personal development. And some of these books had massive impacts on my life. And that's when I got into, and John knows some of my story, like ultra running, where all of a sudden I'm out there for 4 or 5 hour runs in solitude, thinking about like business and life and situations and things I've learned. And through that, like becoming proud of myself for going on my first 10-mile run, 20-mile run, then racing in ultra marathons, and then having success in ultra marathons where I'm in the top 5 or 10. It gave me the rocket fuel and belief system to then be successful in business. And, you know, to any of your listeners out there, like I love the Stutz documentary where he talks about like your life force. And I didn't realize this at the time, guys, but like Phil Stutz in that documentary, he says your life force, like it's 85% body, 10% relationships, and 5% self. So 85% your body is basically like eat, move, sleep, taking care of that engine. And that pours into, okay, 10% relationships. Who are you connecting with as a human being? And then the 5% self is like journaling, like just open journaling and what comes out and what you like feel like within that space. And looking back at that journey when I was 30 and starting to work on my body and starting to like believe in myself through the power of ultra running, was giving me a purpose, and it was giving me an internal belief system. So it's like, if you're out there and you're like, people be like, oh, what's your purpose? Or like, you know, where should I go? I want to buy my first real estate deal. You know, if you start working on your life force, your body, like that's going to give you the belief system to take down your first fourplex. Like training for that marathon gives you the belief system to buy that first property. So I just want to echo that because I'm a product of that. And I think it's so impactful to realize that those types of things that you don't think are going to, like, A does not equal B. Well, it does when you're working on, you know, your personal like journey of just becoming a better human being. That's going to help you be a better businessman.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallan. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, it's Hal Elrod, author of The Miracle Morning, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. Enjoy.
So, man, powerful, bro. And can we talk a little bit about what you're training for right now? I mean, guys, so Bryan and I are on a little group called the Daily Sweat, and so we get to check in every single day. So I get to see him every day, and I do know his story to a degree. But can you explain what you're training for right now with this rim to rim? It's nothing that I have zero interest in. It's so foreign to me, but it's fascinating.
Yeah, so I've been doing like races for the last decade. So anything from 50K to 100-mile ultra marathons. But a group of us are doing rim to rim to rim. So down the Grand Canyon, a famous, it's called FKT, fastest known time. People go, it's like a famous trail that people will try to do it in the fastest. We're not trying to do it in the fastest. We're just trying to complete it. But you start at the south rim, you go through the canyon, touch the other side of the north rim, and then come back. And it's 44 miles. I think it's about 13,000 feet of elevation gain. And we're trying to do it probably like under 20 hours. So it'll be like a fast hike, jog type endeavor. So, but like my wife is starting to get these inklings from telling friends that I think they're having the most deaths ever this year in the Grand Canyon. Like I think 5 people died alone in August. And she's starting to like tell people I'm doing this, and they're like, "Hey, isn't there like been a ton of deaths?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't heard that at all." So, anyway, but I mean, I think they're all just freak accidents, so we'll be good.
Yeah, you'll be fine. That kind of stuff never happens to us.
No, never. Why would it?
What are people dying from? Are they falling? What is this? What's causing?
I think it's some like elderly handling the heat. Flash floods, which is kind of scary. And I honestly refuse to read the article because I just want to be completely negligent and naive and just go in there and maybe like slip and falls. So yeah.
All right, so we've covered the manufacturing, we've covered the 3x5 journaling, we've covered the ultra stuff. You mentioned Airbnbs.
Yeah.
What got you into Airbnbs? Where are they? How many do you have?
So I had 5. I sold one in 1031 that into an office building where I actually have my office, and there's like 9 office suites in there, and we just occupy one of them. So I have 4 now. I got into it in 2019, so kind of pre Airbnb being cool. So I got really lucky, and it's the first one we bought was a lakefront in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, and this thing just ripped. Like, I mean, we were netting like 60, 70 grand a year off of that one, like crazy numbers. So what we did, John and Alex, we just like dumped that into the next one. So we bought a second one in the Poconos, and then we bought 3 in St. Augustine, Florida. So one of those is one house off the ocean, and the other 2 are like 4 houses off the ocean. And so that's kind of our Airbnb holdings.
Do you still enjoy that? I mean, we've seen certainly a fall off in excitement about Airbnbs. I mean, they're a lot more work than a lot of the passive investments. I mean, how much does that take you to run? Do you still enjoy it? They still do well?
So they still do well because we bought right. So that's like rule number 1, having to buy right. But my wife actually manages them all. So the nice thing about my wife managing them all, then she can really qualify for real estate professional status, because she's managing 4 Airbnbs. She's managing our office building. She's not managing our multifamilies. So that is good. They're kicking off cash, Alex, and us being able to qualify for that status are 2 things that we're not ready to give up.
It's awesome.
And plus, nice. we snowboard down in Florida. So our kids are 8 and 10, and we'll go down for 4 to 6 weeks in the winter, get out of the Philadelphia area. So that's just like a huge, and we've done that like the last 3 or 4 years. That's just like while the kids are young, like having that time with them without sports and friends and distractions and just the 4 of us just feels really good.
I love it. I love it. Bryan, thank you for your time, man. This has been amazing. Alex, do you have any more questions? Alex, you look like you were
I kind of do. I know we're short on time, but I found Audible after not reading books for my, ever since somebody made me in high school. I find Audible, and I have this insatiable curiosity, and Audible allowed me into a world which now became this giant bookshelf behind me, and growing rapidly every year. So I'm always curious, what do you like to read? I see a Nietzsche quote here on your website. I don't know. I'm a big Nietzsche fan. I don't know if that's what you're reading, but I'm curious what you like.
Dude, it sucks because I'm still such a sucker for business books and how-to books. I really am. Any thing that can get my juices flowing to become better is what I jam on. The first book that really got me hooked was a book called The Slight Edge. So it was pre-compound effect. So Darren Hardy, everybody knows Darren Hardy, compound effect. I think it was Dennis Olson basically wrote the compound effect before Darren, and he called it The Slight Edge. And
I've read that.
Yeah, and that really got my wheels going and super excited about wow, to your point earlier, Alex, these little things I'm doing today actually are going to matter, and it had a profound impact on my life.
Another good one that's similar in that same genre is Atomic Habits.
Oh, 100%. Yep.
Great.
Yeah, that's the number one book on. Yeah. Fantastic.
Nice.
Awesome. Where can our listeners find you, Bryan?
So 3x5_life is still an Instagram page. It's not as active as it used to be. It was very active up until 6 months ago. We're going to try to kind of reinvigorate that. But they can find me on Instagram at BRYMCFAR. So Bryan McFar. So there's probably the two best places.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brother.
You got it, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Cheers.
Dude, thank you.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.